Hello race fans and welcome to round 6 of the ShawFire V8 Supercars E-Series, sponsored by MotorMotion. That's right, it's ShawFire, our sponsors. They provide unique solutions to your signage and display needs. From business cards and stickers to factory signage and vehicle wraps, they can make you stand out. So make sure you visit www.shawfire.com.au. In the commentary box tonight you have myself, Joel Austin. We are at round 6 in France, Deep Forest. There's going to be 15 turns for our drivers to navigate 30 times here tonight. And as we check the qualifying grid, which was set on the 21st of February, in first place we have Scott, second place Foster, third place Taylor, and fourth place Pitasso. In fifth we have Peyton, sixth we've got Austin, seventh Piers, eighth Colin. In 9th place we have Carter, 10th Griffin, 11th place Camarelli, and 12th place Taylor. Rounding out the field we have Cartwright in 13th, Harcourt in 14th, and Adard rounding out the field in 15th place. Make sure you're sharing us with the hashtag #LightItUp so we can see you following us on the socials as we cross over live now to the round 6 at Deep Forest as we get ready to go under green flag racing. And the lights are out. As we see a car at the back there, looked like a gridline car, get an amazing launch. Ando and Aussie really flying around the outside of this track. Rolls managing to hold the inside on Aussie there. Looks like there was a slight bit of contact and it looks like he's gone into the wall. He's really fallen down the field. He's dropped off the face of the planet. We'll try to come back to that action a little bit later. Looks like there was some slight contact towards the back there as we drive down the field. We'll see if we can catch up to where these drivers ended up. He's right in the wall. That's not good at all. Rusty Nuts looks like, unfortunately, he's been caught up in that action right there on lap 1, turn 1. No good. We're going up through the field. We've got Dietz in 13th. He's been caught up in that as well, unfortunately. Had a great qualifying session up towards the front of the field. Just unfortunate to be caught up in all of that mayhem at the start of the race. As we jump back on board now with our race leader, we've got Ando in first place, making his way around the end of the track. It is a short stint around here. It's about 2 miles long, this track. We see Aussie running a little bit wide there as well. The second time so far, but he does have the car still on the track. Ando's got a very handsome lead there. Could be to do with some of the contact moving backwards as we go down through the field. We've got Pitasso in second place in the Mustang. We've got Aussie still holding on to third place. Peyton there in fourth for Ned Racing. And we've got Piersey for Strike Team Racing up in 5th place. Speedy having a great drive there for CP Motorsport. He's in 6th. He's been new to the MotorMotion field, Jackson Austin. Very fast driver, known very well by his handle, Speedy. As we continue down the field, we can see GLR Scotty. I believe that is the car we saw get an amazing launch, jumping out to the side and going past quite a few cars right off the get-go. We've got Carter there in 8th for Jack Daniel Racing. Super VT down the field there in 9th place. Might be struggling here in the Mustang. As we go on board with Wayno in 10th place. Very hard brake zone, you've got to get it right. There's a couple of different lines here, but you've got to be aware of what the cars in front of you are doing. You don't want to run too wide into that corner. Otherwise, you're both going to sacrifice a fair bit of speed. As we move back to Colin, they're in 11th place. He's usually pretty fast. He's sitting there down towards the rear of the field for West End Motorsport. We can see Griffin not far behind him as well. Pair of good drivers, these two. We should be able to see them move their way up the field. Down into 13th place, we do have Sir Dids on the recovery drive. He needs to make up a lot of ground to get back some places after unfortunately being caught up in a little bit of mayhem at the very first lap. Strike Team Racing's been new to MotorMotion this series, and they've been doing everything right. We've just seen them be awarded a slot essentially in the GT3 Championship that's upcoming soon. So to get that level 1 RCA, you've got to do quite a fair bit of things right. You've got to have really clean drivers. You need to have good socials, good communication. These guys have managed to tick all the boxes, and hats off to them. Congratulations. We will be seeing them in the GT3 Championships. So that'll be something exciting for the Strike Team Racing as we get ready for the next events, which is only a couple of weeks away really, because this is the second last event here at round 6 at the Deep Forest. You see Rusty Nuts there for Mash Spud Racing, and it looks like Rolls is just cruising around. He's still got those orange numbers there, so it's on the back window. So I believe he's still potentially our championship leader. To see him in last place at this point in time, he's going to have to do a lot of hard work to catch up. And the competitor that he has currently in second place, Ando, is currently in first and is absolutely driving away with it. He's gapped the field. It looks like he's run a little bit wide. Will we see a penalty? He's had both wheels across the white line. Seems to have gotten away with it. Thought he might have run a bit wide there, but that might have just been me. Wow, absolutely no one to answer to. He is just putting the time down as quickly as he possibly can. As we see him closing out the last couple of meters here on lap 4, making his way onto lap 5 of 30. Wow, with a blistering time of a 1:22.9. New fastest lap for Ando. Will he be able to go faster as that fuel tank gets a little bit lighter? We'll just have to wait and see. As we go down, we see Nick Pitasso coming around the first bend, making his way up with Aussie hot in his heels. So the teammate to Ando trying to keep up with Nick in the Mustang. WTCC definitely want to get a 1-2 here. That'll help them in the team's championship. If they can get this win here tonight, that will absolutely catapult them up the order. It's been a late run for them in the championship to come up in through the team's titles. A little bit of, I'm not sure what was happening at the start, but they've found some pace now, that's for sure. As we look back down through here, we've got Aussie definitely starting to make a bit of ground on the slipstream up through the tunnel. Will he make the dive on the inside? No, he holds it in there behind Nick. He says it's not time to make that move yet. It's a good call. As we see Nick seems to get a bit of exit there, and Kane's looking to make a little bit of ground on them as well. That's interesting. Speedy, hot on the back of Kane as well. There for CP Motorsport. Very renowned team. Always have some very fast drivers. Doesn't matter what league they're in. They're all aliens in their own right. Good little battle here between Kane, Speedy and Pearsey. Two Camaros and a Mustang. Who's going to blink first? Whoa, Speedy getting all sorts of sideways. It's definitely Taylor, that car. It's got a lot of horsepower. The trick is getting it down and getting it fast. We've seen some drivers do it. Nick Patasso's doing quite well, still holding on to second place as we continue to go down the field on lap 6 of 30. We've got GLR Scotty there in 7th place for Gridline Racing. R. Carter for Jack Daniels Racing, having a great drive. He's not too far off the pace this time. He's holding his own. He's put on a decent gap from Wayno. We've seen that open up in the last couple of laps. And he's not falling too far off the back of Scotty. As we see Wayno holding off Super VT as they make their way around the final turns of lap 6. As we jump on board now with Speedy for a lap around Deep Forest. We can see Jackson absolutely pushing that Mustang for everything it's got. We've noticed that the Mustangs had a little bit of troubles, and we've seen just recently in real life the Gen 3 supercars are having trouble getting the parity between the Camaro and the Mustang, especially in the aeros, which is a similar issue that we've been having here in the MotorMotion ShawFire V8 Supercar Series. So it's really interesting to see that something is happening in real life quite similar to the series that we have here. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, we are the first league to recreate the Gen 3 Supercar Series here on GT7. As we make our way down through the field, some guys exit the tunnel. We've got Speedy in 5th, Pearsey in 6th, GLR Scotty very close behind in 7th. A bit of a train there from 4th through, as we see a little bit of a gap down to Arcada, but it's not too far. Wayno's also hanging in there. He's not quite out of the slip. Oh, might be stretching the truth there, but he's still hanging on. Super VT in 10th, Colin in 11th, Griffin in 12th place, and Sir Dids doing the best he can to make up some ground there in 13th place. Rusty Nuts in 14th, and it does look like we have lost a driver, so that early contact has caused some issues for the West End Motorsport entry in Rolls Ken Hardley. So unfortunately he has had to pull into the pits and resign for the rest of this race. It's an unfortunate shame, but something's gone wrong with the car with that contact that happened in lap 1. I'm sure we'll hear from the race officials by the end of this stream what actually happened there. As we go back to our race leader, he's on lap 9. Will he pit on this lap, or will he push for more? I'm guessing he's pushing for more. I'm thinking 10 laps is going to be our pit lap here, and we're going to see it twice. So the opening stint of 10, and then in another fuel, tyres, do another 10, and we'll see that one more time. So 2 pit stops is my best guess, but it could be anyone's game. With the amount of fuel that he's managed to save there, he's still got a quarter of a tank. He could have came in a lap early, done the undercut, and potentially saved a little bit of time, but I don't think he needs to worry about time. As we can see, he's half that back straight ahead of the competition. We can see Enspud has a little bit less fuel than Ando. That is expected from the Mustang. But Aussie's absolutely draining it, so there's some significant difference between the teammates at WTCC. Ando saved an absolute ton of fuel while driving like an absolute bat out of hell. I've got no other words for it. He's flying around this track. There's got to be something that's giving him an advantage. Not sure what it is, but he is flying, and he's got significantly less tyre wear than his teammate as well. So Taylor's really struggling here at this track. Maybe he didn't get enough practice in as Ando. Ando's definitely got some Ks on his car. If we look at the comparison there, we can see that Aussie's got about 2,413 Ks on his Chef. He's definitely coming in at the end of this lap. He's probably got enough to do one more, but I'd say he's coming in at the end of this lap. So we see, yeah, there he goes. He's into the pits. So Spud stayed out, Kane stayed out, Speedy stayed out. Only so far Aussie and Pearsey have come in at the end of lap 10. Quite a few drivers are letting go for a little bit longer. Maybe they'll end up with some shorter stints towards the end of this race. Maybe that'll keep them competitive. So we see Aussie's only got 8% fuel remaining, getting a new set of shoes. We go down through there. Pearsey's getting a new set of shoes, but he's only got 3% remaining. Griffin finally into the pits now. He's changing his wheels. He's managed to save a lot more fuel than the rest. And Rusty rounding out our field, making his way into the pit box there with 6% remaining. It's very interesting to see. Has he elected not to take tyres? We didn't see the pit crew change the tyres. We'll wait and see what happens. No, he's stayed on the same set of tyres. So he's elected to save a little bit of fuel, or a little bit of time in the pit stop. Apologies, by staying on the same set of tyres. Interesting strategy. He's probably got enough room in those to go for another stint, but yeah, I'm not sure if that's the right call. As we go back to our race leader now, who's going for another lap. He'll be in the end of this one on lap 12, and we can see Nick Patasso into the pits at the end of lap 11. Unfortunately, it looks like he has crossed the race line somewhere. So as he makes his way into the box now, he has a half a second penalty that he'll serve on the exit of pit lane. Kane Payton right in behind him. We've got Speedy there in 5th place. Wayno pretty much coasted into the pits. Carter in 7th, Super VT in 8th, Colin in 9th, and Dids in 11th place. Wow, so quite a few cars are definitely into the pits right now. As we make our way back out, we see Aussie has decided to go for an extra lap around without pitting. Oh no, sorry, he's pitted the lap before. Oh, unfortunately he's grabbed the grass. Run a bit wide. Speedy's, oh well. Wow, all the action here as we jump out of the pits. We had two cars exiting as one car come flying through. They've both tried to give each other racing room and they've both made mistakes. Aussie running a bit wide and Speedy getting a bit sideways. Kane Payton coming the best out of that so far. He's managed to keep it clean and straight. As we see Spud just in front of him does have that half-second penalty. Our race leader Endo is now into the pits with 3% fuel remaining at the end of lap 12. He is absolutely flying and saving a lot of fuel. There's got to be something special with that car. Gio Lascotti, he is on the pit lane now, making his way in, 3% fuel as well. Both these drivers are on a similar strategy. Managed to make it to the end of lap 12. Both absolutely flying. No one's flying as fast as Ando though, as we see him now just about full of fuel, ready to make his way out. Wow, what a stint. He's managed to do 12 laps on one set of tyres, one set of fuel. And he hasn't even fully fueled it. He's just doing his next stint and away he goes. So he's going to continue to open this gap as far as he can. As we move down to second place, Spud, really, he's got a bit of a gap to catch up, and the train is right behind him. So the fastest Mustang on the track at this point in time is Spud, which is currently in second place, the number 32 for Mash Spud Racing. We've got Kane Payton, who's made his way up to third place. He's managed to get past Aussie, and that was at the exit of the pits there. He ran a little bit wide. Didn't quite make the corner. Speedy also almost collided with him, a little bit sideways. As we see Aussie starting to make the move up the inside. He's dived in. He's going to take the corner. Kane's taking the outside. Oh, as we see the two make contact. Good driving there, guys. Well done. They've managed to keep it on the road. There's still plenty of laps to go. Kane Payton unfortunately losing a fair bit of time coming onto the grass there. Speedy might be able to take this opportunity as we see the front wheels of the Mustang lift as he comes down the main straight, pulling a wheelie. Wow! Now that's exciting. I don't think we've seen that this series so far. Crikey, talk about horsepower. He's given that everything it's got. In the slipstream, over the bump, and he pulls the front wheels off the ground. As they touch the ground, he managed to duck his way out of the back spoiler of Kane Payton to get the overtake done. Absolutely amazing car control there from Jackson Austin for CP Motorsport. Wow, that was exciting. The number 71. How much further can he make his way up the field? Is he going to bring Kane along? Is he going to tuck into the slipstream now and they both attack Aussie together? Stay tuned, folks. We'll be here with all the action tonight. As we can see that Piercy's still in this battle for Strike Team Racing. They're in 6th place. There is a massive train going on from 2nd place all the way back to 7th of GLR Scotty for Gridline Racing. Wow, race fans, I don't know about you, but the excitement here is absolutely next level. I haven't seen racing like this in at least 20 minutes. As we move back to our race leader, who is just strolling away. Going purple once again. Be on track to do a 22.7 so far. 0.7 flat, I would believe. Possibly even faster. We'll just have to wait and see. We're at the halfway mark. Ando is on lap 15 of 13. We're halfway through this race, ladies and gentlemen. The ShawFire V8 Supercars Series. At the halfway mark, Ando's ready to set a new fastest lap as he goes across the line. What's he got? Oh, he's just missed out. It was a 122.772. His current fastest is a 122.745. So he's got a little bit of room that he can make up. He's gone purple in the first 2 sectors, and just not quite managed to maintain that gap that he had in the final sector, but the times that he's doing, it's just absolutely mind-boggling as we see him go 0.168 up in that first sector there. Going down through the field, we see Spud's picked up another half-second penalty. There's somewhere on the track that's not quite agreeing with the Mustang. Unfortunately for him, Aussie and Speedy are right on his tail. So this half-second penalty is going to feel like an eternity for him as the train of cars behind is slowly starting to spread out now on lap 16. It was a bit tighter before. As we see Spud getting ready to approach that penalty zone. We see him pull off, just not quite enough. Not quite enough. So we look to have seen Speedy and Aussie make contact in the background there. Speedy's definitely readdressed, but unfortunately it looked like it's also held up Kane. It looks like he sort of stopped in the middle of that corner there. Kane had nowhere to go. It's a bit of a shame, but it's definitely opened the door. It's opened the door for Piercy. Piercy's now absolutely ready to make a move on Kane Payton. He's right in the back of that spoiler, so the train getting further apart, closer together every second lap here. As we see a bit of dust go flying up the camera lens. now. This is some close racing, guys. We've got Peasy from Strike Team Racing giving absolutely everything he can on the back of the Ned Racer, Kane Payton, the number 23. And not far in front, we can see Speedy there pushing his way through the tunnel in that Mustang for CP Motorsport as well. Right, everyone's filed in, no one's made a dive. We'll see who can get the best exit and make a run down the main straight as we make our way back up to second place as we go across the line. Nick Batasso managing to gap away from Aussie slightly. Aussie Hypnotic for WTCC seems to have managed to catch back into that slipstream. Can't quite push for the inside, didn't quite get close enough for it, but you can see the ground is closing between the two, with Speedy also closing in on back of Aussie. Kane Payton and Nick Pearce, the next two cars back, but not quite close enough for that slipstream, I don't believe, not yet. We're getting closer and closer to the second pit window for these cars. We should expect to see them start to come in around lap 20, possibly a little bit earlier, depending on the strategy that they're running. As we see Aussie get a little bit sideways on the exit of the corner, opening the door for Speedy. Speedy's now really closing in. Very clean corner, slow in, fast out, that's what we like to see. These guys are the best at what they do here in the Brock Lobby. The MotorMotion ShawFire V8 Supercar Series. We're here at round 6 at Deep Forest. This happened on the 21st of February 2023. So guys, if you haven't seen us already, make sure you jump onto Facebook, jump onto the page, like and follow. Maybe you guys can jump in for a couple of series as well. There's some really good stuff, all sorts of series open for all sorts of drivers. Right now we're watching the elite, the best of the best, flog their way around here at Deep Forest in France. As we make our way down through the field, we've got Kane Payton in 5th place, Nick Pearce in 6th, GLR Scotty in 7th, Wayno in 8th, Super VT sitting comfortably in 9th place at the moment, and we've got Griffin there in 10th place, making his way up the field. Got Colin in 11th for the West End entry. Unfortunately, his teammate has had a mechanical failure and has had to pull out of this race. Quite unfortunate, but he's going to continue to represent his team here at round 6. We've got Carter not far behind. He's trying to hang on to the back of Colin. Sir Dids doing his best in the recovery drive after being caught up at the start. And Rusty Nuts tailing out our race field today in 14th place. Remember, he chose to stay on the same tyres from his first stint. Looks like that back right is about ready to explode. There is a lot of tyre wear on that car. As we see, it hasn't had a lot of kilometres. Only 3,388. I thought there was only 388. As we see him making his way into the pits. Oh, did he cross the line? Or did he make it? I did see a wheel hit it, but it didn't go quite over, so he might have got away with it. Pit crew there in pink and purple. The first of the pitters for the second stop here, and I believe that will just be solely because of the tyres. He had enough fuel to go again. As we jump back now to our race leader, who's making his way past the pits. He is going to lap him. So the first lap cars that we see now as Ando makes his way onto lap 21. We see Rusty just coming out behind Ando. Brake disc glowing through the first corner there. Definitely got the car hooked up right for them tonight at WTCC. The engineer's done a very good job here with Ando's car. He is flying around here. 122s across the board. Unfortunately, his teammate does seem to be struggling on the fuel and tyres in comparison. As we drop down to second place, we've got Nick Patasso making his way around. He seems to have made a gap between himself. Oh, Ozzy's not even behind him. Speedy's made his way past. So Speedy's got the move done. Jackson Austin, fresh into the MotorMotion series after another driver unfortunately did have to have an exit. Speedy's managed to chuck his hand up and say, yep, let's go. And I don't think anyone expected him to be as quick as he was. He's well known, and I'm surprised they didn't realise this was going to happen. But he's really pushing that Mustang, which is great to see. Got two Mustangs in podium position at the moment, but we've still got another 9 laps to go. Aussie not far behind, 4th place, and Kane Payton for Ned Racing in 5th, trying to hang on to this train. He doesn't want to lose that slipstream from Aussie. Unfortunately, GLR Scotty has dropped a little bit too far back. He won't be in that slipstream anymore. But still having a fantastic drive for the team. As we see both Speedy and Aussie into the pits. Kane Payton electing to stay out for one more lap, the same as Nick Patasso. We see Super VT make her way up into 5th place as she goes past the early pitters. She will get one more lap out of that car as well. So as we look at the grid, we've got a Chev, a Mustang, a Chev, another Chev, and another Mustang. So it's quite even between the two. Even though the parity hasn't been absolutely perfect, they've done an amazing job here at MotorMotion to keep these cars as even as we can throughout the game. We move down to 6th place. We see Collins made his way up the field. We do realise that after these guys start to pit, a lot of these cars will jump back up. So the field's not exactly set to the positions that we see. As our race leader makes his way into the pits, he'll be back out before Nick even gets to the line. He's got 7% fuel remaining, but he had a massive gap heading in. As we jump back up to Nick, we'll see him coming around the final bend, and I believe he's going to be in the pits anyway this lap as well, the same as Ando. So even though he might have been able to come out about the same time as him, he hasn't had enough fuel to make that extra lap stick. As we see the top 3 races all with 7% fuel, running a very similar strategy. GLR Scotty able to go for an extra lap, but Ando has already done his refuel and will maintain 1st place, just like I predicted. He had enough gap to keep himself ahead of the pack. We see Carter's gone for an extra lap as well. He's only got about one more lap of fuel in it. And we'll see the first of our pitters, Nick Patasso. He will retake 2nd place after the 2 cars ahead of him pit. Looks like Speedy and Kane Payton have almost come out of the pits side by side. It looked like Payton was ahead, but Speedy was, so I'm not quite sure how we've missed that. No, Speedy stayed out on an extra lap. He went in one earlier. There we go. So Kane Payton was coming out of the pits and Speedy had the better run. I think that's the 2nd time I've seen the front of that Mustang pick up. Bit of a setup he's got there. I swear I've seen the front of that car pick up twice now so far. Very interesting. As we move down our field, we've got Kane Payton in 6th place, Aussie in 7th, Pearsey in 8th, Super VT in 9th, Wayno 10th, Colin in 11th, Griffin in 12th, Dids in 13th, Rusty in 14th, but it won't be for another lap or 2 until we see the correct order as we move back to our race leader. We're going to go on board as he goes around this lap here. See very delicate fuel control coming through the corners to make sure that this car does not spin. Slight touch of brakes, 3/4 flat out. Turns in nice and early, slightly on the gas until it straightens up and then gives it all the beans. Pushing the car all he's got through the tunnel. Right on the 150 board, down the gears, down into second, cut the corner early, slightly on, and as the wheel straightens, flat out. This will be a good lap, not his fastest, but it will be a good lap. Seems to be in a great routine with a 1:22.759. Absolutely flying. Well done, Ando. As we move down the field now, we've got Nick Batasso making his way past the pits. This will put him back in front of GLR Scotty to retake second place. Remember, he's already done that pit stop. He's only put in enough fuel to get to the end. Interesting to see what happens here. Kane Payton did make it past Scotty as well, so Speedy's in third. Payton's managed to make it in through fourth, just past Scotty as they've come out almost side by side in the pits there. So GLR Scotty's made up a fair bit of ground to get onto the back of these two guys. Having a fantastic drive himself for Gridline Racing. We see Aussie's drop down a few positions as well, as we see Piercy in the background, and it absolutely messed up. He's completely spun it, really pushed the car around. Oh no, he's just taken out Monica with that rear end. Oh, that's really unfortunate, as we see Carter make his way past Monica as well. She will have damage on the front splitter. Wow. Oh, that's really unfortunate. Piercy has just got it all crossed up, got his rear tyres into the marbles on the green section there, bumped the wall, done the 360, and tried his best to get the car turned around and off the track, but he had absolutely no traction. Held the loud pedal a little bit too hard, stuck the rear of the car out right in front of Monica, and she's had nowhere to go. She's lost a position in that. That's really unfortunate, but she's still in the race. In ninth place, coming to the end of lap 25 or 30. Another 5 laps to go. She makes her way around Deep Forest in France, round 6 of the MotorMotion ShawFire V8 Supercar Series. We move back to our race leader. He's on lap 26, catching up to the rear of the field once again. Looks like he's going for a double lap. Wow. I guess that's what happens when you can save a lot of fuel and still be the fastest car on the track. See, that car's got about 2,700 kilometers on it, just a little bit over. So he's definitely put some Ks down. Not as much as some on the field, but he's definitely had a bit of practice. Go down the field, we've got Nick Batasso followed closely by Speedy, and Kane Payton not far out of this as well. As we see the car get a little bit sideways, Speedy's managed to have a little bit more composure out of that first corner. It's going to give him the opportunity to catch up onto the back of Spud. Now remember, Spud's had a few penalties this race so far. We've caught at least 2 half-second penalties. We see Speedy get a little bit crossed up. Mustang seems to be a little bit more loose than the Camaros at this point in time. Oh, so we see Aussie in the background there with a 3-second penalty. He must have crossed the pit lane. Unfortunate, but if you do cross pit lane lines, you will get a 3-second penalty. This is going to put GLR Scotty back into the mix. He'll be able to go comfortably past Aussie in 3 seconds. So we see Aussie do the right thing, pull off to the side and allow space for the driver to go past. Quite a gap there as we see the camera pan across from GLR Scotty up to Kane Payton. Not many more laps to go here, ladies and gentlemen. So he seems possibly for the first time have two Mustangs on the podium. We'll just have to wait and see. Oh, as long as he can keep the car straight, he should be in good health. Quite a lot happening here as we see Kane Payton in fourth. GLR Scotty did make his way up into fifth because of the penalty. Wayno's gone past as well in sixth place. So what has happened to Aussie? Carter's in seventh, Super VT in eighth, Colin in ninth, Pearsey in 10th, Griffin in 11th, Dids in 12th, and Rusty now tailing out the field in 13th instead of 14th. So it looks like Aussie's decided something wasn't quite right with the car and he's pulled off the raceway as well. So that's one from West End and one from WTCC. Unfortunately, that will see both those teams not end up with team points because they did not complete the race. But it's all still happening for both teams. They're both still going around here as fast as they can. One of them going a little bit faster than the rest as we see Ando slightly ahead of our last place car, Rusty Nuts. The camera pans over to him. He's on lap 29 where Rusty's only on lap 28. We'll see Ando make his way around here to be on the final lap shortly as we go down the field one last time. Nick Patasso currently in second place. Jackson Austin in third. Kane Payton in fourth place. We've got Scott Taylor in fifth. Wayno in sixth. Carter in seventh place. Super VT in eighth. Colin in ninth place. Nick Pierce in 10th. Tony Griffin in 11th. Oh, we've seen Shane Haddard throw the car out wide. I think he's putting a bit of a show on for the fans at Strike Team Racing. He hasn't been able to make back as much ground as he wanted to. Looks like he might have cut a bit of ground there, but he's got away with it. Rusty Nuts rounding out our field as we jump back to our race leaders. We see the final lap flashing now, so this will be the last time we see the Camaro come around Deep Forest in round 6. Ando not quite up on his personal best at the end of the third sector there. Fastest lap we've got to mention is a 122.324. Blistering fast, and we've seen 122s from him all night, which is how he's managed to double lap most of the field. What a fantastic drive from Ando, WTCC. This will catapult him up in the rankings. Well done, what a drive, as we see Nick Patasso with a healthy lead into second, but not a lot of fuel. He's probably got enough to get to the end quite comfortably. It's the battle ensues for third place in the background. Nick Patasso, no stress at all at this point in time, takes out second place, the first step down on that podium from first. Speedy is also going to be there. He's going to make it for third. Kane Payton in fourth. And we see GLR Scotty come across the line in fifth place. Wow, that's fantastic. That's two Mustangs on the podium as we see Wayno come across in sixth. We've got Super VT. She's made her way back past Carter in the final turns. She's in seventh, Carter in sixth. That was close. Collins made his way up to 9th place for West End Motorsport. He's managed to make a few places as well. Piercy in 10th place for Strike Team Racing. Unfortunately, he's dropped a few positions. Tony Griffin in 11th. Sir Ditz making his way around now in 12th place. He is a lap down. Unfortunate, but here he comes for 12th place, and Rusty Nuts double lapped there in 13th, rounding out our field of cars that have finished here tonight. Wow, what a race that was. It was absolutely fantastic drive there from Ando. The fastest we've seen him go so far in this series, and to be honest, I think that's the biggest gap we've had. There was two laps. He finished ahead of the other cars. So, wow, well done. Honestly, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have enjoyed the broadcast. Apologies for the delay. And apologies for not being able to bring you the Johnson lobby in round 6. Sometimes things go wrong, and when they go wrong, they go wrong. But because more than 75% of the race was completed, actually I believe it was only 50% of the race was completed, the stewards have decided to award half points for the Johnson lobby in the positions that they were when the race was red flagged. So we'll look to see you tomorrow as we broadcast the final round, round 7 at Bathurst, which was held on the 28th. So we've got the delayed broadcast, which will come to you live tomorrow on Saturday. So thank you for watching. I'm Joel Austin. I've been your host tonight, and I'd like to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, ShawFire. Make sure you guys visit www.shawfire.com.au, the proud and official sponsors of the MotorMotion E-Series. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.